Okay, so how to turn on the e-collar itself. What you're going to do is you're going to find the big button on the back of the e-collar right here. It says on, off, and light. You're going to hold it for 2 seconds. Like that. It lights up blue. And then to turn on the collar portion itself, you're going to find the red dot on the collar right next to the light. And then the red dot on the remote, which is over here next to the T button, which means tone. I set it to vibrate, but I don't use vibrate, so whatever. You're going to connect these 2 dots. You're not going to hold it for a long time. See how it lit up green? And then when you go onto it, it goes red. So on, off. Make sure you're not holding it there for too long because it'll turn itself on, and then let's see if it does it. Oh, now it's trying to pair. Then sometimes it'll turn itself on and then off. So you want to make sure that you're not doing it, holding it for a long ass time because it'll mess your stuff up. It's a magnet, so if you ever can't find your remote or it's way over here and you need to turn this on, get a magnet and connect it and it'll turn it on and off. One thing about these is if you put them on with a dog that usually has a GPS collar, like I think it's the Phi collar and the Apple tag, they both have magnets on them, so it's possible that it can turn this off. So make sure you're keeping it away from it. That way you don't have an e-collar that you need and it's off. So that's one thing. So that's how you turn it on. Both pieces have a battery life indicator. So they blink green and then they go to orange and then to red, and that's when you need to plug them in. Both pieces have a little silicone port right here. The charger that comes with it charges both pieces at once. And then they're going to light up red when they're charging and it'll turn green when they're done charging. So it takes like 2 hours. Don't leave it plugged in all night like we do with our phones because it'll make them die faster. The warranty with these things is really good. Even if your collar is dying faster than you think it should, like if it's dying every single day, we can send it back and get a new one. So use your warranty because they're really good with it and you might as well be getting what you paid for. So when you're looking at the screen, you want it to say M and C. So M, C, and then 1D blinking up here is for one dog. You can pair a second collar to this to work it on both dogs, but you kind of lose some of the functions. So instead of having momentary and continuous, you have one dog, two dog. So read through your manuals when you get it because it'll kind of make all this make sense. Next is the dial. It's kind of backwards, so it goes from 0 all the way to 100. Like I said, we work on the lowest number that the dog can feel. If you're finding a working number that's over 10, for really high threshold dogs, maybe 15, then you probably have the wrong fit or they're not understanding what you're trying to teach them. So make sure that when you're finding the working number, if it's really high, you want to check the fit because there's no need for it to be super high if it doesn't need to be. And then the collars also come with short stems and long stems. This is for a shepherd, so we have the long stems on them. You can change them out. Sorry about this dog, he's a freaking wacko. And then if your dog is allergic, you can also, like if they start getting a rash on their neck, you can get hypoallergenic titanium stems for this to help that. So when you're looking at the screen, like I said, it needs to say M and C. That stands for momentary, which is black. Here, I'll turn it up. So momentary. Even if you hold it down, it's only going to nick them. And then continuous is it's continually adding pressure until you release. When you're doing long distance recall, this thing does time out after 12 seconds. So if you see that the red light has turned off, I'm just going to test this for you guys so you can see. I'm consistently holding it. When the red light turns off, you have to re-hit the button to get it to start again. That is only for usually long distance recall. You shouldn't have to hold it more than 12 seconds to get them to do something. So all of the parts and pieces come off. So if your dog chews it up, you can get a replacement instead of buying a whole new system. I just lost my antenna. The way I put it in my hand, this is more for righties. It helps better with how you're holding your leash too. So you're going to put it in your right hand, tuck the antenna in between your index and thumb pocket, and then you're going to use continuous mostly in the beginning. And that way, if it's in here, you can use continuous with your middle finger and dial gradually with your index and thumb. It's really important in the beginning to work with this e-collar when your dog isn't wearing it, and work on holding and dialing at the same time. As you can see, these numbers turn really fast if you're not careful. So now we're on 12, when really you should only be going up one at a time. And I make it look easy to be gradual because I've been doing it for 7,000 years. But when you get it, the first time you grab onto it, you're going to accidentally turn it up to like 30 when you're trying to dial it to 1. So sit on the couch and fuck with it while you're watching TV or whatever, and work on hitting buttons, dialing, whatever, so that you're comfortable with it, because the key with the e-collar being successful is not having to look at it and being able to respond in an instant, because like in the previous videos, you only have 3 seconds to correct a behavior or change their state of mind. So you have to be really fast with it. Or if you're working on reactivity, 3 seconds is way too long from a dog gearing up to react to the explosion. So you have to be really, really, really good with using your e-collar remote.